No, Gregg Braden, we are not in the end times. Hey guys, it's John sitting out here on the back deck, enjoying a beautiful day. It's in the 60s and the sun is shining. And I thought I'd hop on here because I just watched a video by Gregg Braden. And the entire video was him justifying why we are in the end times. And he was giving a list of prophets. And one of the ones that he specifically named was John the Elder, who wrote the book of Revelation. Now, what's so interesting about his video is he is leaning into these prophecies, which are completely ambiguous statements within these texts that he's calling forward. The prophets that he's talking about are from the Torah. And they're claiming that these events will happen in the future, but give no timeline, no nothing, right? And then he uses the book of Revelations, the book of Revelation as one of the profound sources of the end times. Now, Bible scholars are pretty much in agreement that the book of Revelation was written for the churches of the time to warn of the persecution of Rome, to keep the churches very much engaged in being faithful. These concepts of these prophecies being of the end times now is a negotiation with the text. It's him saying that this thing that's happening in that book means this is happening now, and this is why this is happening. It gives you a list of reasons why we're in the end times. The concept of the end times is mainly from Paul's teachings, not from John's, mainly from Paul's teachings. And when you look at Paul's teachings, Paul believed that the end times were happening in his lifetime. So to take his words and the Bible's words as to say that it's happening now is just fear-based marketing to get people to click on a video. The concept that the end times are happening now is not congruent with what the scholars believe. It doesn't nothing that they're saying matches, right? Even the New Testament, they go back and they add stories into Jeshua's life to give him the prophecy, or to fulfill the prophecy of the Old Testament. But Bible scholars agree that there's many additions to the New Testament that were not in the original text that were found. The virgin birth being one of them, being of the line of David being one of them, being born in the town of Bethlehem is one of them. These are later additions that were added to fulfill a prophecy. What Gregg Braden is doing right now is he's trying to fulfill the prophecies. But why is he trying to fulfill the prophecies? Not because he's trying to make the end times happen. It's because his controversial business model makes him have to sell something controversial and something fear-based. And this idea that we're in the end times is a fallacy. It goes against what Bible scholars say about our time right now, or what those meanings of those books were. Gregg Braden is not a scholar. Gregg Braden is not someone who is deeply studied in these things. He's someone who's taking specific things and adding his own ideology to them to make them be fearful, to make you afraid, to put you in the idea that you're in the end times. The reason Paul said that Christians should be celibate is because he believed it would be wrong to bring children in the world during the end times. That's why Christians should have been celibate back then, because he believed that the end times was coming and Christians should remain celibate. This ideology that is being spread by people nowadays, claiming that messages from 2,000 years ago are relevant to today, has nothing to do with the reality of today. It has everything to do with the selling of prophecy. There's nothing said in your future. There's nothing said in the future. We are creating our experience in every moment. All of the spiritual texts say that. What you think you become, you create your world. Thought by thought, you forge your destiny. As a man thinketh, so is he. I think, therefore I am. There's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. There can't be prophecy that is actual. There can't be anything ahead of us if we are creating the experience.
And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Coffee Time with John. This channel runs off coffee, so get your coffee and tea at johnsjoe.com.
I would like to make a challenge to all spiritual YouTubers out there and Gregg Braden and many of the others to stop selling fear. Start talking about creating a present moment that's beautiful and loving and caring. Start creating a loving world as opposed to scaring people and putting people in fear, which puts them in the belief of fear. The only way you're going to be justified is if something terrible happens. But if our thoughts are creating and you're telling them to think terrible things, you're putting them in a fear base. So no, Mr. Braden, we are not in the end times. And I really would wish you would stop telling people that we are in the end times, because it's not even what scholars say. It's what theologians say. It's what people who want to negotiate with the text say. But you're speaking of it as truth, and then you actually say, here's how I'm going to prove it. That is detrimental to our world. That is detrimental to our life experience. We are all in this life thing together. Why are you creating it to be a fear-based ideology as opposed to a loving world? I leave you one commandment: love one another. To sell fear of end times is not loving one another. It's selling fear and creating a world that is unloving and uncaring. It's fear-based, and so people will start hoarding food, loading up on their ammunition, getting their guns. Why don't we just love one another? Why don't you start portraying yourself as a loving individual as opposed to someone who's got to convince people that it's the end times? People, every time I mention anybody on one of these channels, people get mad. You shouldn't bash other people. I will call out anybody who's selling fear and anxiety to a world that I love. I will call out anybody who's trying to scare people to buy a product or watch their videos. That's why I have 29,000. He's got millions or hundreds of thousands. I don't even know how many watchers he has. He's a bigger name. I don't care. I'm not going to give myself up and my loving world up for somebody else's fame or somebody else's product. And I'm definitely going to call them out when they're selling fearful ideologies that have no relevance to today. Bible scholars disagree with you, Mr. Braden. Bible scholars disagree with you. Be here now. Think not upon tomorrow. Be here today. It's right in the Bible. That's part you probably didn't read. Be here today. Live here today. Love here today. Create here today. You must become as a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. You have to set all that junk down and come back to being a place before belief and be the love. Be the love. Gandhi says you must be the change you want to see in the world. Well, if it's fated that we're in the end times, then that doesn't matter what you are. So I disagree with you on the topic of the end times. I just wish you would stop scaring people. And that's my thought on this. And the rest of you, YouTubers who are selling fear and peddling fear instead of creating a loving world, I challenge you to take this next year, 2025, and make nothing but positive, loving videos. You probably won't do it because you probably won't get the actual clicks on it because it's not controversial or scary enough. But what are you creating? You're scaring people so they feel they need your scary videos. Why don't we create the love instead of creating the fear? Our thoughts are creative. All the avatars say it. So stop scaring people to think scary things. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.